All right, we are live for episode number 8 of Beyond the Game, and I'm doing these twice a week now because they've been doing so well talking about my life, sports cards, business, relationships, anything that's on my mind. 'Cause my mind every day goes in all sorts of directions, and you would know that if you're on my email list. I write pretty personal, crazy, raunchy, controversial emails every single day to my whole email list, and it's kind of funny. I remember back about 2 years ago. So we have an email list of about almost 100,000 people now. And I used to have a copywriter or someone that worked for me that would write the emails. And the emails never did good. The emails for our business were never good. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take these emails. I'm going to do it myself. I'm just going to speak exactly what's on my mind, the most authentic stuff you could ever find, like just stuff about my personal life and um, all sorts of stuff like that. So that's what I did. And the emails just took off like wildfire. And if you click the link in my Instagram bio, you could, I mean, if you put in your information, you'll subscribe to the email list. And like, I'll write stuff about dating and all sorts of stuff. And something that recently came up, and the reason I'm talking about this and bringing this up in the first place is because I went on a date. This was like last week. This was last week with this, actually, this was like the second day with this girl. Incredible, amazing, super smart, super funny, just super hot, all 9 yards. And she got around to asking me, she was like, "So, what do you actually do for work?" She asked me that. And I was like, "Well, it's a little bit of a story." So I kind of explained to her my life and how I started buying and selling sports cards when I was 17, and then the pandemic happened, and as people started to ask me how I was doing it, and then this whole program came about. Um, and she mentioned something under her breath that was, I guess, I don't know. Honestly, it kind of bothered me. She kind of laughingly said, like, "Oh, so you're a scam. So you scam people." And she like laughed, and then she saw the look on my face, and then she immediately took it back. Um, and I bring that up because I think it's like, so someone like that girl who has probably never like invested into a coaching program, like alternative education. It's just interesting to me, and I'll never be able to get over this stuff about, like, the dichotomy between college and online education. So someone like that, she's studying for her law school exam, going to law school, LSATs. She's studying for the LSATs, and someone like that has probably been preached her whole life: get a job, education, safety, security. Nothing wrong with that at all. Totally viable. Nothing wrong with it. But it's wild that these people, like, or most people, just think that every online thing is just a scam. It's like if it doesn't make you $1 million overnight, it's a scam. However, this is what I would say, and I'll bring this up till the day I die. To the day I die, I will bring this up, and I will keep talking about it, and I'll keep repeating myself because I just think it's so important. And if I can get my voice out there and just help one more person, then it'll all be worth it. If you dissect an online coaching program, not mine, but just anyone, versus college, right? College, right? You invest, what, 50, 60, $70,000, and you have to wait 4 years to make any type of money. And you wait 4 years, and maybe you make 50 grand, 60 grand, 40 grand, whatever the average salary is when you get out of college. And if you think about college for a second, right? In college, right, you take 5 classes a semester. There's 8 semesters total, so you're probably on average taking 40 classes. And yeah, Angie, you want me to you want me to block them? Um, Here, I'll block them for you. There you go. I blocked them for you. Um, so it's crazy, like, right, 40 classes you're taking. I could speak from my college experience. I could speak from my personal experience. Out of the 40 classes I took, I'd probably say 38 of them were bullshit. There's probably 1 or 2 classes that actually helped me apply things in the real world. And if you're watching this right now, you probably went to college, have some sort of job, and you can agree with me that the stuff you do at your job, you probably didn't need to go to 4 years of college for. You probably didn't need to take all these bullshit electives, but you did. And it's crazy because people are like, "Yeah, no, college is not a scam. College works." But if you just dissect it for a second, right? Let's pretend college is $50,000, right? Let's pretend it's $40,000 just for math's sakes, right? Let's say it's 40,000 bucks and you take 40 classes. That means each class is $1,000, right? 40,000 divided by 40. Each class is going to cost you $1,000. And I bet most of you guys watching this right now could agree with me that 80, 90% of the classes you took probably did not help you that much. So if you just break down the math, out of the $40,000 you gave to a school, 30 to 35,000 of it probably was useless, right? But these colleges force you to take all these classes like electives and they force you to stay there for 4 years. Why do you think colleges are dumb, right? They're a business, right? They're a business just like any other business. And guess what businesses want to do? People are greedy, businesses are greedy. They want to make as much money as possible, right? Don't kid yourself, right? Sure, they're there to help people and educate and all that stuff, but they're a business first and foremost. And it's just wild that like people think these online education programs that are actually teaching an applicable skill. I'm not just saying this to sell you my program because I sell one, but like through online education programs, I have built a multiple seven-figure business from it. And every single thing I learned about marketing and content and sales, client fulfillment, and hiring people, managing people, and all that shit, I didn't know any of it coming out of college. It all came from online alternative education. And when you buy a coaching program, let's say the average high ticket coaching program is four, five, $6,000, whatever it may be, right? People on the surface are like, oh my God, $5,000. That's fucking crazy. I'm never gonna spend that. But that same person spent $50,000 on college and went there for 4 years and jerked off for 4 years and got some bullshit job, right? And when you put those things side by side, it's like, oh wait, maybe $5,000 to learn an applicable skill, whether it's real estate or sports cards or whatever it might be, um, is actually worth it. Like, ask yourself that. Let's forget about sports cards for a second. Let's forget about sports cards. Let's talk about real estate, right? Real estate, we all know you can make money in real estate, right? I know there's a lot of people out there that are like kind of skeptical on the idea of making money with sports cards. It's something newer, but we all know you can make money with real estate, right? You buy a house, maybe you fix it up, you rent it, right? And I know of a real estate program that's $8,000. It's $8,000, the 12-week intensive program. Now, if you tell that to the average person, they might say to you, are you fucking nuts? Why would you spend $8,000 when you could learn it yourself? Right? And that is what I call a normal person or a rat race mentality. Because the only thing you cannot buy back is in life is time, right? And picture this, right? Real estate's expensive, right? Real estate's no joke, right? You're taking loans out for the bank. These houses cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And let me ask you this, audience, camera, whoever's watching this right now. Would you rather attempt to learn it yourself and all like if you buy a real estate coaching program, everything in that program is on YouTube. No one's teaching anything novel, right? It's all out there. Like anything you want to learn about real estate is on YouTube, but you're paying for speed and you're paying for the information to be condensed and or not chronological, but like in a sequence that makes sense, right? Instead of going after like this YouTube video and that YouTube video and this one and that one, right? That's what you're paying for, right? You're paying for speed. Anybody can learn a skill on their own. Anyone can do it. I learned sports cards with almost no mentorship, right? Now, it took me about 3 to 4 years to start making any type of money because I didn't have any mentorship. I was just shooting shit at the wall. Sometimes I make money, sometimes I lose money. I have to learn. I go back to the drawing board, all this stuff. But if I bought a sports card coaching program, let's say it was crazy. Let's say it was $15,000, right? Let's say it was 15 grand. Is it worth it to save 3 to 4 years of your life to spend 15 grand? And going back to the real estate, the real estate example, if you buy a house, let's say you buy a house for $300,000 and things get messed up and you spend 9 months fixing it up and trying to rent it out and then you end up having to sell it and you break even, right? Because that's the reality of business. A lot of things in the beginning go to shit. That's just how business is, right? If it was easy where you just start something and start making money right away, everybody would do it, but there's a reason business is hard. Is it worth it to spend $8,000, put it on your credit card, put it on your debit card, to not only so the first house you buy is profitable and you don't waste time on one that's not profitable, but also now you might buy a house in 3 to 4 months because you were taught things in a sequence and you have a coach to ask any questions to and you could buy with confidence. You could buy a piece of real estate with confidence as opposed to going on, YouTube or learning from some guy you don't even know about, right? And the point I'm trying to make here is this fake example I'm making of a real estate coaching program that's $8,000. It's worth it. Like, it's worth it to save time and save money and save stress. Sure, spending $8,000 is not stressful, or it is stressful, excuse me. But you know what's really stressful? Taking out a $300,000 loan for a house, and you have no mentorship, you have no guidance, you think you know what you're doing, but not totally sure, right? That is stressful, right? And that's why you invest in coaching. That's why if you talk to any entrepreneur that makes money, they always invest in mentorship and coaching to speed up their time. Because at the end of the day, you're making more money with less stress and you're being pointed in the right direction. And the last thing I'll say about this real estate example is, let's say you have to learn it on your own and maybe it takes you a year to buy that house. If you go through a program, you'll be able to buy one in 3 to 4 months, buy with confidence, and that whole time of, like, now you gotta wait 12 months because you have to learn more information. That first one's probably gonna get screwed up, and you might not be able to buy another one for another year or 2. With coaching, you're buying more quicker. So that whole gap between when you bought a house at 4 months because you invested in a coaching program versus 12 months because you didn't, even when you buy it at 12 months, something's probably going to go wrong. That whole 8 month gap, you could have been making money this whole entire time, right? That is forward thinking. That's progressive thinking. That's how, like, people who make money and are wealthy think, right? Because the only thing you can't buy back in life is time, right? And it's simple to say out loud, but it just pisses me off that so many people out there try to, like, you know, ask these people for financial advice that are not where they financially want to be. In the last podcast, I was talking to this kid named Aiden, and he's like 14 years old, and his mom was like giving him shit about buying and selling sports cards. And I explained this to him that, like, even though, you should love your mom, I'm sure she's amazing, but you should never take financial advice from someone that's where you don't want to financially be. So if you're thinking about buying a real estate coaching program, don't go and ask your aunt or your mom or your uncle or your brother or your wife, should I do it? Right? Unless they're where you want to be in life. If they're where you want to be in life, you should take advice from them. If they're not, you shouldn't, right? Simple to say out loud, but I see so many people, want to, like, talk to their wives or their partners or their friends or whoever. I'm like, are you dumb? Why would you do that? That makes no fucking sense, right? Use your best judgment or talk to people that are where you want to be, right? When I say it out loud, it's like duh. But so many people try to, like, get, like, a reassurance from their friend or their partner or whoever. And guess what? I'll tell you the reality of business because I live this. Nobody is going to give you reassurance, right? There's a reason normal people have normal jobs, live normal lives, 9 to 5, 401k, all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that at all, right? But it's because it's a normal thing to do. If you want to live a not normal life, right, you have to take not normal measures. When you take not normal measures, like investing in yourself in skills and sales, real estate, sports cards, whatever, people are going to give you shit until you start making money. And then when you start making money, they're like, oh, wait, how are you doing that? Right? That's how it works. Right? And it's just funny because, like, I lived it, like, with my parents. Like, they didn't believe in any of this sports card stuff, digital marketing stuff, any of it. um they weren't really giving me shit about it, but they just didn't believe it. And years later, my parents, like, whoa, like, how did you build this company of 30 people and all this craziness going on? So it's only crazy till it works, right? And it's funny because my best friend told me, he said, he said to me, I don't know if he's in here right now, but he said to me, "You are the biggest idiot, but you make the most amount of money I know." And the reason he called me the biggest idiot is because, like, when I was first getting into, like, sports cards or, like, digital marketing and this stuff, like, I was actually dumb enough to believe that you could make money with sports cards, right? I was like, if you went to anyone back in 2015 and you told them that, hey, I'm gonna start buying and selling sports cards, they would think you're really stupid. Now it's a little bit more acceptable because sports cards have gained a lot. But he said, "You are the dumbest person I know, but also the smartest at the same time." Right? Sometimes being stubborn and staying in your own lane and investing in yourself goes a long way. Take my word for it. I'll say this shit till the day I die. Exactly what I just said in some sort of form. And then all this, you could tell I'm triggered from that girl saying I was a scam, even though she, like, laughingly said it under her breath as a joke to be funny. I just Sam, even though when I was with her, when I was with the girl on the day, I didn't make anything of it. But, like, the next day, I wrote an email about the whole fucking thing, and I was like, I just can't believe, like, this is, like, people's mindsets. And, like, the craziest thing is, like, this girl. So, like, I live in, like inexpensive area, for a pretty expensive area in Florida. And, like, the girl saw that and she still thinks, like, oh, like, you're a scam. I don't know. That's just my fucking 2 cents on the thing. Um, but my personal trainer, for the gym told me to, start talking about my dating life because he likes to hear about it, and he thought you guys would as well because a lot of you guys are men. Um, so I'll tell you one other thing about before I head into sports cards, I'll tell you one other thing about, dating. So, like, for you single guys out there, and for you even for you married guys, I'll tell you a little hack, and this is fucked up. This is, I'm gonna tell you 2 hacks, and this is really fucked up. So it's not that fucked up. So I actually use sports cards to get to like attract females. I'm gonna explain to you how. So if you guys have ever watched my content or watched my webinar or anything, you'll notice I talk about something called a card finder. What a card finder is, it's a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant is someone that works overseas, usually in the Philippines, and you could pay this person $3 to $4 an hour because $3 to $4 American dollars in the hour, and $3 to $4 American dollars an hour in the Philippines is above minimum wage. That's like 20 to 25 bucks here. Okay, so it's not like fucked up to pay them $3 an hour. And I have what's called a card finder, and I pay this person $3 an hour. They work for me for a few hours a day, and they actually go and find cards on eBay for me. So I don't need to do the legwork of finding these cards. I train them. They know what to look for. They know my budget, what I'm looking to buy, etc. We have meetings, and they go out and do it for me. And they just send me a Google spreadsheet every single day. I look over the cards. They probably send me 10 to 20 cards a day, and I buy what looks good, and then I move on. So, like, maybe I buy 1 card a day, 2 cards a day when I'm using the card finder, but like it takes a lot of the legwork out of it, and it's $3 an hour, right? So they work for me for like 3 to 4 hours a day, 9 to 12 bucks a day. It's really convenient, especially for me because I want to still buy and sell sports cards while I teach it. Right? I want to be someone that practices what I preach. Um, so that's why I use it. And then this is like 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. I forgot, it was 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, I'm working so much. I have not talked to a female in like 5 months. It's been like 5 months since I like had any type of female interaction. Pretty sad, right? And I had this genius idea. I was like, wait a second. What if I take my card finder? He's an 18-year-old kid in the Philippines, so I knew he would love it. What if I took him and put him on my Hinge and Tinder? Would it work? And I gave him a script how to talk to girls, and he just kind of sets up the date for me. I know some of you guys are thinking some of you guys are gonna think I'm smart. Some of you guys are gonna think I'm a creep. Does both maybe. And I did it, and it was fucking amazing because I like to keep these apps off my phone, like Hinge and Tinder, because they're addictive, right? If you've ever been on them, like a bunch of pretty females, especially the areas I live in, like a lot of pretty females, it's very addictive. So I had to, he would swipe for an hour a day. I pay him an extra hour. He'd swipe for an hour a day after he was done with the sports card stuff. And it was incredible. I would download Hinge or Tinder on like Thursday or Friday if I was in the mood to go on a date. And boom, just like I'd have so many matches. Also, there were some other things I did to learn about dating. Like I read a book, I took a course to learn like what pictures to take, and so there's more to it. But the legwork was taken out for $3 an hour, and I didn't have to put my energy and time into like these apps that are like great. Like you can meet people, they're fantastic. I think online dating is an amazing thing. But at the same time, it's like toxic and addictive. Just like TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. Like I like to keep myself off of social media as much as possible, even though like my whole business is through social media, which is like ironic. But I just think like I've always said to myself, I'm going to take all the time people spend like, on Tinder and Hinge and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. I'm going to take all that time and apply it to something productive. That's always been my mindset like throughout my whole entire life. And it's worked pretty well for me. So like, it's pretty crazy. Like if you, I bet some of you guys are scared to do this. But if you go on your phone and you look at your screen time, you could see on a per app basis. I bet you are, you know, Facebook for 2 hours a day or Instagram or TikTok for a few hours a day. Like the average person, actually, let me look it up. How much does the average person spend on social media per day? Let me look this up. I'm actually curious now. This is fucking crazy if this is true. Holy shit. No. I mean, yeah, I believe it. 2.5 hours a day. 2.5 hours a day on social media, the average person does. And all these people are like, I don't have the time for this. I don't have the time for that. Get off your phone. Imagine if you took this time. Imagine if you took 2.5 hours a day and you applied it to something productive every single day. 2.5 hours a day is a long time, but it feels like you can't do it because your mind has just been like shrunk and brainwashed from all the social media you've put into it. So something to think about. That's kind of been a good mindset for me. Like 2.5 hours a day. Okay, maybe I'll spend 20, 30 minutes on it a day because my business runs through it. Like, I buy and sell sports cards on Facebook and stuff. I'm going to take all the time and use it to go on eBay, learning new skills, self development, growth. And it's pretty crazy, but it's easier said than done because social media is very addictive. Like, it's inherently addictive. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but the way social media makes money is through all the ads you see, right? And think about this for a second. It's like you guys have probably seen my ads all the time, right? And Facebook, who owns Instagram as well, they want you to stay on their platform as long as possible. Why? So they could show you more ads. The more ads they show you, the more money they make, right? It's pretty straightforward. And now think about Facebook. If they want you to stay on their platform as long as possible, what are they going to do? Well, they are going to make their platform as addictive as possible. Every single thing about Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, the colors, the way you swipe, the font, everything. They spend billions of dollars a year on psychological testing so they can get people on the platform as much as possible. I mean, these companies are making, billions of dollars, like billions a day through ads, like a lot of money. So like if they can get people to stay on their platform and test things and get people to stay on for 0.5% longer than they were last year, I mean, that's making them, so much money. It's disgusting. So, um, be stronger. Don't become addicted to these platforms. It's very hard. And I think social media is an amazing thing to connect with people, learn tons of information, but it depends how you use it, right? You can go down this crazy rabbit hole of like looking at like funny TikToks or just hot chicks or whatever, which is great, but it's just not productive and you'll just like become a zombie and just brainwash yourself. So, something to think about. That's my like morning rant. Some other things to go over. Let me see what I got on my list here. I got a nice little list. All right. So, um, back to sports cards. I like to do like a mix of like business mindset, relationships, and sports cards. And so, first thing I want to talk about is let's make sure I don't drop any of this stuff. There we go. So this card of Victor Wembanyama. If you guys follow me at all, you'll know I bought this card for about 20. Was it okay? It was 25 or $2,600. One of the two. This red Prism PSA 10 Wembanyama. And the reason I bought it is for two reasons. So the way sports cards works, and you can use market movers to look at this data, is so like this card of Victor Wembanyama, right? They came out in like February and March. They come shooting down, right? Because it always starts out high, comes down. It actually went up a little bit because he started playing well. Then the offseason happened, and it started going down, 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 and then it started to flatline. And once Wembanyama's value started to flatline, I was like, okay, well it's June, his value's not going down anymore. It's only up from here. Like hopefully he plays well in the Olympics. Hopefully he has a good preseason, whatever. Hopefully the Spurs pick someone up, which they did, Chris Paul. So hopefully something good happens. And, I know my risk is very minimal. Like my risk is like, okay, if he gets hurt, I could lose 10, 20, I could lose like 10%. The odds of that happening, not high. However, the odds of me making money are high because just alone, if nothing happens, as we get closer to the season, the hype will drive up demand, which will drive up prices. But thankfully, he started playing well in the Olympics, and now this card sells for like 34, 3,500 bucks, which is pretty cool. I should probably sell it instead of having on me, but I gotta get to doing that. Um, but it's crazy. Like if you know what you're doing in sports cards, and because it's a newer market, there's not as much competition. You could have a nice competitive advantage. And there's not many businesses in this world. You can buy something for 2,500, make $900 profit, and about I think I had the card for like a month and a half or 2 months. Obviously, it doesn't happen like that every single time, but it's like, what do I make? 50% on my money, 40% on my money in a few months, right? Like if you go on Wall Street and tell someone, hey, I made 40% on my money in 2 months, they would think you're on fucking drugs. No one would believe you, right? But it's very feasible and possible getting into newer businesses like this if you have a competitive advantage. So just wanted to go over that. And I don't say this stuff to brag. I tell you this stuff to inspire and to like let you show you that, hey, like this sports card stuff actually does work. Um, that's one thing. Another thing I wanted to go over was, hold on, let me look this up. So, uh, I'm looking up something about Justin Fields just so I'm not spewing out of my ass here. So I actually know what I'm talking about. Justin Fields, his PSA 10. Yes, this is what I thought. All right. So if you go back in my content a while ago, um, you would see when Justin Fields got traded to the Steelers, I was very high on him. Because his competition, right, Russell Wilson, and I think Russell Wilson's okay. And Justin Fields, he got announced as the backup, right? So you could have bought his Silver Prism PSA, and I had students that did this, and they told me about it. So like that's why I'm bringing it up. But you could have bought his Silver Prism PSA 10 in like June ish for like 150 bucks. Okay, 150 bucks, and ask yourself, right? This is, and I'm trying to like teach you guys here how to make money with sports cards. Ask yourself if you buy a Justin Fields Prism PSA 10 for 150 bucks in June, what could happen that'll go wrong? He can get hurt, yes, and you might lose there, but the chances of that happening are not high. However, if he makes a push in camp, people will get very excited, especially the Steelers have a very big fan base, and his stuff will go up. And you know what that same card last sold for 3 days ago while I'm speaking right now? That card sold for $250. $250. You could have bought a bunch of them for 150, right? Pretty crazy, right? And like going back to like this Wembanyama example, like it doesn't work like this every time, obviously, but like ask yourself, your risk of buying Justin Fields in like June is what? Pretty low. Like not many things. Like he's already selling for what a backup should sell for, but the upside's huge. And I mean, to show you a failed example, I'll show you a failed example. So I did this with Sam Howell. The same concept and the same reason. I was like, you know what? His stuff sells for backup prices. I can get it really cheap. And let me look up what it's selling for right now, just so the stuff I'm saying is actually accurate. Um, so you could have bought Sam Howell, his contenders PSA 10. Oh, there's no way this is right. I don't believe this, but you could have bought his contenders. I don't know if this is true. These sales could be fake, but Sam Howell, my reasoning for buying him, I was buying him in like April and around April. And you can go back on my content, go back on my YouTube videos. I was talking about buying him. And it's because, think about it, Sam Howell, the backup. I actually think Sam Howell has some talent. But, anyways, he got announced as the backup for the Seahawks, right? He got traded there to back up Geno Smith. Now, Sam Howell's young. If he did anything, a lot of excitement would happen, which means his value would go up. Now, ask yourself, if you buy Sam Howell right now, or if you buy it in April and he's a backup, if he goes up, or like if when the preseason happens, if he starts to push Geno Smith in camp, if he looks good in the preseason, whatever the case might be, his stuff will skyrocket, right? And let's say nothing happens. If nothing happens and he just stays the backup, okay, you broke even. Whatever. Sell. Maybe you lose a little bit, maybe you make a little bit. I'm looking here and I'm looking at his prices here. Um and it seems like Sam Howell's making a little bit of a. Oh, this is why. Okay. Hold on. I did not know this. This is why I'm seeing this stuff. Uh so Geno Smith got injured. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This is how sports cards works. This is how crazy it is. So Sam Howell got into training camp for the Seahawks. Rumor was he wasn't doing well. He was not doing well. And then so his prices didn't go up, didn't go down. Like you could have bought his contenders PSA 10 all the way back in like March for like 150, 160 in that range. And they were selling for like 150, 140, a little bit less in July. And then Geno Smith got hurt. Like Sam Howell didn't play well. Geno Smith just got hurt. That's it. And then two sales popped up for 229 and 270. Isn't that crazy? It's just because Geno Smith got hurt. Imagine if Sam Howell actually beats him for the starting job or plays well in the preseason. That stuff will double. This is what I'm saying. Like this is a very good way to make money. Um, so hopefully this is like resonating. Hopefully you could see like how much money you can make if you just know what you're doing. And I'll toot my own horn here for a second before I get off here because I only have a few more minutes. So if you go back, I had a YouTube video, man, like February or I don't know, January, something like that. And it was the top 3 cards to buy. Top 3 cards to buy. And one of them was Jordan Love. It was a Jordan Love. I said, hey, Jordan Love's a good buy right now. His blue ice is like a top end football card. You should go and buy it. and the card's a little bit more expensive. It's like a $1,300 card at the time, and this is no joke. This is not me bullshitting here. I did not buy one because I could not find one to buy. I only looked for like a day, but so like I didn't make any money. Yeah. The curse does stick. Blee, I think that's your name. Um, but that same Jordan Love card you could have bought as a PSA 10 all the way back in January for $1,300. That same card today, the same card, people, sells for $3,500 now. The same card. The same card, you could have over doubled your money. And that's just not a blue ice Jordan Love. Like, you could have bought Jordan Love like when I was saying to buy him. And like, I hate that I'm on here saying like, I told you, I told you, I told you. But like, hopefully, you guys will listen to me and listen. Like, the content I actually put out there is like real shit. I do. It's like not it. It's like literally tell you guys exactly what I buy. Like, people, you could have bought his Jordan Love contenders. You could have bought a Jordan Love contenders PSA 10 back in like January, February, March, 12, $1,300. And I know these cards are more expensive. You don't need to do it with cards this expensive. And you know what the last few sales of this card were? 2,200, 1,800, and 2,000. What the fuck are we doing? Like, I'm telling you guys, like, you can make a lot of money from sports cards. Like, you can't get returns like this anywhere else. The reason you can get returns like this is because the only place to ever get massive returns is business. Like, stock market, like, this is business. Don't get it wrong. This is not investing. When you use the word investing, that implies like, right, putting your money in the mutual fund or stocks, making 10%. This is not that. This is flipping cards. This is a business. This is a sustainable, predictable business, right? This is the only way place. Business is the only place to print money. That's why if you watch Alex Hermosi, who's like I fucking love the guy. He has a video he just came out with about how people become filthy rich or something, or how billionaires make their money. And billionaires, so real estate makes the most amount of millionaires. The most amount of billionaires is private equity. If you don't know what private equity is, all private equity does is they'll buy a business that does, let's say, $3 million a year in profit. They'll go in there, they'll make a bunch of adjustments, they'll make it way better, and they'll turn it into a $30 million a year business, and they'll sell it and make a crap ton of money. That's what private equity does. And that's business. That's how to actually change your life, make a sustainable, predictable income for yourself. Business. Like, that's the way to do it. And that's sports cards. It's business. You could easily make a few $1,000s a month from it. Like, people, I'm telling you, like, just like Nike, just fucking do it. That's it. Just do it. But hopefully you like this content. I gotta run because I have a crazy day. Got started with this podcast a little late. Um, if you do enjoy this content and you want to learn how to make money with sports cards for super cheap, you could join my school group. It's $47 a month. It's $47 up front. If you don't like it in the first month, I'll give you the money back. It's not about the $47. It's just about showing you that this stuff actually works. There's a million trainings in there, coaching calls, all sorts of stuff like that. But if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Any questions for me, always let me know. Comment, DM, whatever you got. And I'll see you guys in the next one.